What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk about the 3 biggest reasons that you hit the ball fat. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you. We're out here at Inwood Golf Course. We are going to be talking about hitting the ball fat. That's something we talk a lot about right now, especially coming from the indoor environment. We get onto the grass. It can be a very detrimental shot to your game. It really kills your scores. So we want to talk a little bit about that and what's going on and why that is happening, because we've been talking about it a lot. So before we get into that, if you're looking for more help on your game, make sure you check out our online golf academy, scotthogangolf.com. We've had a lot of success. We've had a lot of good stories coming out, some good scores coming from that online academy as we're getting early here in the season. So make sure if you need help with your game, you head over there and check out what we have to offer. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel. We'll have more tips, and comment below what you need help with your game, and we'll get to it. All right, so let's talk about hitting the ball heavy. It's one of those things. We've just come from playing indoor golf for the entire winter season, and now we've got to get outside and we're going to be on the real grass. One of those big things that can really be a game changer from the inside world. Now, what do I see most people do when they are hitting the ball fat? And it happens a lot. So the first one that we're going to talk about is do they actually know where are you supposed to hit the golf ball? So I see a ton of people when they come out to golf, and especially if they're starting to golf inside, if they're starting on the indoor environment, what happens is they will think that they're supposed to actually hit the ground slightly before the ball, or maybe even at the same time. The real thing is, you have to know your goal is to try and get the club head to strike the ball first and then strike the ground after. The big key we talk about, your goal with the golf club is you're thinking of going forward. You're trying to move everything forward. The golf club and how the shaft and the loft of the club work, that is what's going to send that ball up. We're not trying to launch it up. It's going to get up because of how the golf club is designed. So when we're working on this move, the first thing we'll have people do is work on trying to brush some turf and feel like they are moving the club forward. I want them to feel like they're getting that swing towards the target, feel like they're going to throw the club out there and move that lowest point of their swing beyond the golf ball. You can see my divots here are on the target side of that golf ball. That's extremely important. You have to get a feel for that, even if you maybe, hey, I know that. Are you really doing it or having a feel for how that works? That's a huge part of playing better golf, is understanding, hey, I've got to have my lowest point of my swing after the golf ball or on the target side of the golf ball. Now, the second thing that I will see people do is, again, this will start when we're coming outside, it gets a little bit worse, but we'll see this inside as well, is people will have the ball too far back, okay? And people will say to me, hey, Scott, you want me to move the ball forward? I'm hitting the ground first. And I agree, that doesn't make sense right off the bat. But what happens when you start moving the ball back in your stance, okay, even if it's just in the middle or a little bit back of the middle, what happens is my angle of attack to get to this golf ball needs to get more vertical. So I'm going to be taking a more straight down angle at the golf ball. And when I do that, I'm going to have to really time that perfectly. What tends to happen is I come down and I dig it into the ground, okay? Now, if that's what you're doing, you're going to start to bail out of that. We're very risk adverse. If you hit enough times into the ground, what a lot of people will do is start to lift their arms, and then they'll actually start hitting a lot of thin shots too. But what you're trying to do here is you're trying to smooth out the landing into the ground. So the analogy I always use is we're trying to be like an airplane landing. If I'm coming down for a landing at an airport, I don't want my pilot coming straight down and then trying to pull up at the last second, trying to figure out how he's going to land that plane on the runway. I feel like that's not going to work very good. Same thing goes for the golf club. We want to be coming in nice and smooth, and you want to be coasting into that ground and touching the ground at a nice smooth angle. That's our goal. So what I have people do is they have to start moving the ball forward. Now, what I like to have people do, I always tell people play the ball at the logo on your left chest. If you're a righty player, most golf polos and shirts have it on the left chest. Just think of where that would be on your right side, okay? Get the ball up there, and then what we have to work on is getting ourselves to shift forward so I can move and land the club at the correct spot, but it's going to be at a very shallow angle. Even that one where I took some ground, the divot here is very, very shallow. It's not a hole that we're digging, okay? So if I do that, ball forward, and I'm going to work on moving forward with my swing, you can see we have nice, solid contact. Ball went pretty far with not a whole lot of effort. Here was where my golf ball was, and there's where my divot starts, about an inch in front of that, okay, on the target side. So get that ball forward. It's going to help you smooth out your landing as you're going into the golf ball. All right, and then the third thing that we're going to look at when we're trying not to hit it fat is people don't give themselves enough room to hit the golf ball. So the best example of this is when people tell themselves to keep their head down or that they're moving their head. Well, that's actually going to be the exact opposite of what you want to do, because as you are hitting golf shots, your big thing is you're trying to give yourself a lot of room. The more that I keep my head still, I'm going to restrict my ability for my chest, my body, my arms, for everything to clear out and give me some space. So when I see people hitting the ball heavy, not only do I want to see them moving forward with everything and getting everything going through to the target, but I want them to feel like they have a lot of movement as they do it. So what they're going to do is have their body turn through towards the target, a la something that you would see David Duval do, Annika Sorenstam do. And what they typically can do is make that brush into the ground a lot lighter. Okay, so I want us to move and get everything free through to the target. So as you feel like your arms are extending through, everything's going with it. The biggest thing when you're hitting the ball fat is you have to hit the ground in the right spot. You have to make sure you have the ball in the good position to do that. And then you have to work on that skill, and you have to learn how to coordinate your movements so that you are hitting the ground in the right spot. Unfortunately, there is no, hey, if you do this 100% of the time, you're not going to hit the ball fat. There is a lot of shots on tour that are hit fat. They just don't look as bad as some of the fat shots that I'll see on the range. But you have to work on it. It's a skill of where do you want to hit the ball with your club and where do you want to hit the ground in relation to that ball. Try those out, and as always, thank you for watching. Click that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.